Scattered over the broad expanse of ocean on our globe are countless islands. Many are remote and tiny. Some are sparsely inhabited, others completely devoid of human habitation. Lying off the beaten path, many have escaped the march of progress. Out in the Pacific, off the west coast of South America, straddling the equator, lie the Galapagos, a volcanic archipelago created during the later stages of the Earth's development. Lacking essentials for colonization, these islands were ignored by early explorers. It was not until the mid-19th century that their unique forms of wildlife attracted the attention of leading naturalists. Young as they are geologically, the Galapagos are the habitat of the world's oldest living creatures. In Spanish, Galapagos means tortoise, and from these monstrous reptiles, the islands take their name. The lifespan of a land tortoise often exceeds 300 years. This 500-pounder is just in the prime of life. His 50-year-old companion, a mere infant. Other reminders of the prehistoric world are the land iguanas, modern replicas of ancient dinosaurs. Extinct elsewhere, here they continue to flourish in an undisturbed environment. Rare as this reptile is, it has an even more unusual relative, the marine iguana. While at home on the land, this amphibian feeds exclusively on ocean vegetation. Here, even among birds, odd species are the rule. Having developed from fish to reptile to bird, the flightless cormorant is now evolving backward. In another billion years, they may become true fish again. Another bird who's forsaken the sky for the sea is the Galapagos penguin. Though most penguins are found in frigid climates, this branch of the family has adapted to life in warm equatorial waters. In contrast to birds that can't fly, the Galapagos hosts some truly expert aerialists. Among these are the boobies, a name justly warranted by their general appearance. Different varieties are distinguished by brilliantly colored feet. So there is a blue-footed booby and a red-footed relative. In the matter of aerial maneuvers, the champions are the man-o'-war, or frigatebirds. In addition to winged acrobatics, the man-o'-war is a master of exotic mating rituals. When romance calls, the males stake out their homesteads. Then the fiery color of the crop seems to advertise, lonely bachelor desires to meet unattached lady. Object, matrimony. From overhead, females scan the field looking for the male who's raised the finest crop. While picking a mate is strictly lady's choice, the males don't always accept her decision without a fight. But these battles also offer opportunities for still others to woo the fair lady. Since she's more interested in courtship than combat, she's quick to accept another's proposal. Once the lady is won, the next order of business is nest building. So materials are gathered from every possible source. The man-o-war is a natural-born pirate who would rather steal sticks than gather his own. The game of keep-away could end in a stalemate, but a lateral pass to his helpmate proves an effective deception. Then, when pursuers are eluded, the male retrieves the coveted prize. On this clumsy nest, the eggs are laid, and a new generation is on the way. But compared to a man-o-war chick, the ugly duckling was a bird of paradise. Another member of the feathered clan is the oyster catcher. With slender beak, she pries into small crannies for shellfish. But it takes a lot of limpets to make a meal. So while she's looking for more, her chick wanders astray. A neighbor, it seems, has designs on catching a baby oyster catcher. But the red rock crab soon discovers that good as she is at opening oysters, the mother is even better at cracking crab. Here, crabs flourish in countless numbers. In fact, the islands are literally crawling with them. At mating time, it's proper red rock etiquette to begin romantic advances with an invitation to the dance. With courtship concluded, the happy couple retires to a romantic hideaway. Despite a similarity to dragons, marine iguanas are harmless leftovers from another age. However, even among such docile creatures, there's always one who goes around looking for trouble. He doesn't have to look far. Just over the hill, there's another with the same idea. If looks could kill, the fight would end right here. The challenger shows his contempt by spitting in his adversary's eye. And when the other spits back, the fight is on. The disturbance attracts many spectators, all in a hurry to get the finest view. long on bluff, the iguana is short on teeth, so the match ends in a draw. For the challenger, a haughty withdrawal serves to save face, until a cold wave completely dampens his dignity. "200 miles off the west coast of Mexico lie the seldom visited Guadalupes. Isolation in this undisturbed environment accounts for the survival of the elephant seal. Once nearly wiped out for their oil and hides, here they cling to a precarious foothold of existence. The flabby snout of the male is of no practical use, except for snoring. Elephant seal home life is built on the harem principle, with one bull possessing a dozen or more wives. Roving bachelors are always on the prowl, so constant vigilance must be maintained. At any threat of intrusion, the wives are herded aside before the challenge is met. Once the battle is joined, a critical decision is in the making. To the winner will go the harem, so naturally the outcome is of vital concern to the ladies. Finally, the unwelcome caller is driven back into the sea. A sadder but wiser suitor, who for the moment has lost all interest in the opposite sex. Of all the islands of the sea, the Falklands of the South Atlantic host some of the strangest inhabitants. High on seashore cliffs, colonies of king shags make their home. Here, they lead a life fraught with problems, for they're constantly beset by raiding gulls. Word of an untended nest travels fast, and fresh eggs attract birds of a feather, demanding a cut of the loot. Still a greater threat rides the sky on the wings of the skua gull, a predator who prefers young chicks. Frantically, the alarm is sounded, warning parents to guard their young. Although kidnapping seems certain, at the last moment the intruder is frustrated and must be content to pick the bones of some former victim. On the Falklands, no bird is free from the peril of gulls. Returning home, their gullets loaded, the Gentoo penguins are pursued by these robbers, bent on stealing their catch. Their approach to the rookery rings the dinner bell for the young, and fast footwork is required to ration the food equally. Just as difficult is the transfer of fish from adult to chick. Born thieves, the gulls lurk in wait for any tidbit that's dropped. While the gentoos have their counterpart in well-known Antarctic penguins, other Falkland breeds are far more unusual. There are no wild burrows on the Falklands, yet the beaches echo with the bray of the jackass. The jackass penguin, that is. The meaning of the bray is understood only by another jackass, but whatever was said seems to have stirred up quite a controversy. Falkland penguins, however, aren't all beach dwellers. These wave-lashed, rugged shores are preferred by a still stranger breed called rock hoppers. Such turbulent waters apparently could dash them to their deaths, but even in the most violent surf, they come ashore safely. Although they're fish eaters, the rock hoppers are cliff dwellers. Each day they journey up and down the nearly perpendicular palisades. Untold generations have followed this route, as evidenced by the deep grooves tiny claws have worn in age-old rocks. But it's still a long way to the summit, and the trip would certainly have been easier if their ancestors hadn't forgotten how to fly. High above the sea is the rookery. Here, squatters' rights are maintained on every home site. So among mated pairs, a bachelor meets a dubious welcome. Tempers grow steadily shorter, at last erupting into a knockdown, drag-out brawl. Thoroughly discouraged, the disconsolate suitor seems destined to a life alone. Then, it's love at first sight. Along with romance come chores of homemaking. But for latecomers, nesting materials aren't easy to find. the labor, his reward is a tongue lashing, and orders not to come back without some bigger sticks. With the nest complete, the pair settles down to await the arrival of a family. As the chicks grow, child care becomes more demanding, for the ever-alert skua presents a constant threat. But like all youngsters, baby penguins thirst for adventure. Despite efforts to keep him in the fold, the headstrong truant wanders far beyond the limits of safety. When all manner of scolding fails, father tries persuasion and reason. Ignoring frantic warnings, the prodigal continues his wanderings, heedless of the impending tragedy. Now the lamentation of his capture can only serve as a warning to others. In spite of perils, most chicks survive. When they reach the molting stage, they're abandoned by their parents. Day after day, hunger increases. Irritability brought on by empty stomachs results in flaring tempers. But neither fretting nor wailing can appease hunger. Far below, the raging surf offers their only hope for survival. So hunger at last overcomes fear, and they make their first sojourn down to the sea. Although nearly starved, some faint-hearted lack courage for the high dive. Even here, one straggler still can't make up his mind, until a friendly wave does it for him. Of all the islands of the seven seas, the vast Pacific contains some of the loneliest outposts. Tiny islands and atolls of the Midway group provide mating and nesting sites for the albatross. This is a bird of extremely specialized existence. Most of its life is spent over vast areas of open ocean, so it isn't entirely at home on land. Due to their grotesque antics, these birds are more commonly known as goonies. Yet, once airborne, the Laysan albatross is one of the most graceful inhabitants of the sky. Heavily bodied and big-footed, they need a lot of speed for takeoff, so the longest beaches serve as runways. If distance is misjudged, takeoffs may be canceled at the last moment. With the dubious example of the Laysan to follow, a black-footed goonie tries the same tactic, but it appears he's either underpowered or overloaded. reaches maximum rev up, only to ground loop into a parked neighbor. Although each takeoff is fraught with difficulty, getting airborne is only half the problem. It's in landing that the Goonie really lives up to his name. Every descent holds the threat of disaster. While some make perfect three-point letdowns, most flights end in crash landings. The albatross is a creature of the sky. Over vast areas of open ocean, they find their haven for survival, as along with other rare and unique species, they cling to a precarious foothold of existence on the faraway and isolated islands of the sea.